We are going to start with Chelsea. It's been a very familiar theme this January because once again, Kave, the owner, has his chequebook out.
Yes, Chelsea have agreed a deal in principle to sign the young winger Noni Madueke from PSV Eindhoven. They're going to be paying around £29 million for him. He's 20 years old. He came through the youth system at Crystal Palace and Spurs. He moved to PSV Eindhoven, I think in 2018. He scored, I think, 9 times last season, scored twice this season. Now, PSV were expected to keep hold of him because they've already sold Cody Gakpo this window to Liverpool. But I think the offer that Chelsea have come up with was just too big for them to turn down. He's a player that a lot of big clubs have been interested in. I think Manchester United tried to sign him when he was at Spurs. But as we've seen Chelsea under their new owners moving very, very quickly to do these deals, the window, has been open for 19 days. Chelsea are about to sign their 6th player of the month.
He's keeping you in business, Todd Bowley, Andy, isn't he? Tell us a little bit about Noni Madueke and what supporters can expect from him.
Well, I don't think that much immediately, to be honest, Rob, because he's had a quiet time this season. I think if you go back to the season before last, you saw all of the potential. He was fantastic. He started the season brilliantly, scored goals in the Champions League qualifiers in some really tough matches in which he looked absolutely fantastic. And at this point, you're thinking he's going to end up in the Premier League in a year. But it's been tougher for him. He's had a lot of little injuries since then that have kind of held him up. It's like Kave says, I think with the offer, they're not really losing anything from their first team right now, this second PSV. The potential's obvious, the ability's obvious. It wouldn't shock me if he went out on a loan immediately, especially with that logjam of forward players that Chelsea have got and dribblers as well that they're bringing in, because Madueke is very much part of that. But I think if you're looking about Chelsea building a sustainable project, I know it looks just like they're buying everyone this window. I have some sympathy with that point of view. On the other hand, you're getting a player who looks like he can be the real deal for, I think if you're looking at what he can be below market value, is something that's good for PSV at the moment because he's not been great more recently. But if you go back to that form of the year before last, when everyone was having a look at him, 30 million at that point would have seemed like an absolute bargain. And of course, he's another English player to go into that squad.
And the point would be, or I guess the comparison, the simplest of comparisons would be, Cody Gakpo has just come from the same club. Is he far more Premier League ready to go?
Yeah,
Madueke is.
He's been great the last couple of seasons. He's more the finished article. He showed up at a World Cup playing a different role to the one he played at club level, Gakpo, and looked the part there as well. So you've got that extra versatility. A couple of years older, a bit more mature.
Just wanted to touch on something Graham Potter said last week, Kave. He says, if you're in a position when in a small period too many people are making recruitment decisions, it's not a recipe for short or long-term success. So we have to stabilise things, make good decisions and align our resources. I'm not sure the owner's listening, is he?
Look, I think it's an incredible amount of money that Chelsea have spent. Almost £500 million, I think, if you factor in the deal they've agreed to sign Christopher Nkunku in the summer as well. And you're talking about a club who were the world champions when the new American owners came in. It's not like they needed this much money spending on them. You speak to Chelsea fans and they say, OK, yeah, we need another centre-back because Thiago Silva's getting on. Question marks about Koulibaly. Centre midfield, that's an area that really needs looking at. Jorginho and Kante could be leaving in the summer. Up front, we need a number 9, a real striker. Those are the areas they really need to strengthen. And yet this window, they've gone out and bought Mudryk, João Felix, and now Madueke as well. It just seems like a bit like they're signing players they don't really need at the moment. Has Graham Potter really gone out and told the owners these are the players I want?
That quote would allude to the fact that he doesn't want a squad of 30 odd. I think the point obviously that Andy makes is that some may find themselves out on loan and are ones for 2-3 years time and he is seeing this as a long-term project rather than what can all of these guys do between now and May.
That's the weird thing about the João Felix signing. It's like Kave says, every time they make another signing, you're thinking, why did they sign João Felix? Because they're clearly not going to keep him for next season. It sort of seems like a mutually beneficial thing between Chelsea and Atletico, and they have been there in transfer business before, haven't they, helping each other out continentally. So it feels like Atletico are getting rid of a Diego Simeone problem, perhaps until Diego Simeone goes, and Chelsea are getting a quick fix when he comes back from suspension to make things happen immediately, because if you think he really did hit the ground running in that Fulham game.